Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 210. I am Brendan. UFC Fight Night, Cannonier versus Strickland prelims. All right, we're going to handle the prelims here, including the Cory, McKenna, Cheyanne, Vlismas, Matthew Semelsberger, Jake Matthews, Nurmagomedov, Saidyokub, Kakhramonov. We're going to cover all of the prelims here. We're going to go break it down round by round, talk about each fight, and then if you are looking for the main card and the main event that's in the last video, before we get started real quick, if you like MMA, you like fight breakdowns, you like data, I like to do all that stuff here. I like to try and understand bad decisions. So if you like that stuff, subscribe to the channel so you know the next video is coming out. Let's go. All right, Cory McKenna taking on Cheyanne Vlismas, former Cheyanne Bays, B-U-Y-S. I think she had a win in her last one, right? Mallory Martin? Yes. Okay, so they changed them all. Okay, Cory McKenna ended up getting the win here via unanimous decision, 29-28 on all three judges' scorecards. Oh, and we have the Wonder Team here. Derek Clearly, Sal D'Amato, and Junichiro Kamijo. All right, let's talk about it. So McKenna does not strike well when they're in tight. Right, she gets real sloppy in there. She doesn't have real clean striking. If you are looking for a specific fight, by the way, the timestamps are down below, so you can skip to there. At distance, McKenna isn't bad, but Vlismas has more power. So when they would separate, Vlismas would land a really hard right hand. In the first round, it was 17-13 in favor of Vlismas. I didn't see that. I thought McKenna landed more, or at least the same amount. What was the total strikes? Yeah, there it is. So 21-20 in total strikes. So I guess 8 of those were not significant strikes coming from McKenna. McKenna with the takedown, I don't really know if she did anything damaging in this round in any one moment. I felt like the volume probably did it for her. She did have 51 seconds of control time here at the end. I guess pure damage, Vlismas was that far ahead on the judges' scorecards. I didn't see it that way. I didn't think Vlismas did so much damage that put her way out in front. I felt like it was pretty close. And yes, the striking numbers are in her favor through 4 significant strikes. I understand that. But McKenna was the one moving forward, and I thought she landed enough strikes to keep it close, right? I know Vlismas landed the bigger punches in the immediate time, but those ones in between, she landed like 3 big shots, and the rest of them were, on pace with McKenna. So if you gave her that round, I'm okay with it. That makes sense to me. I just didn't see it. I thought that McKenna did enough in that round, right, to keep it even. Not to say it wasn't a blowout or that like I'm so sold on it that how dare you, it's a robbery not to give her that round. It's just I felt like she did enough, and then she got the takedown near the end of the round, was able to control her down there. Really didn't do too much on the ground, but that's what I'm saying is like how far out was Vlismas that a takedown and holding her down there wasn't enough to swing it her direction. I didn't feel like it was that much. Second round, Cory was grinding, keeping the pressure on, keeping the pressure in the clinch, doing damage when she could, tons of pressure, landing well when she could. And at the end of the second round, she got a lift and a slam. So the striking numbers were in favor. So the significant strikes were in favor of Vlismas, but I bet you if we look at total strikes, apparently they're in favor of Vlismas as well. I didn't see that either. Anyway, 4 minutes of total control time. I don't feel like any of those things coming from Vlismas, other than there was one good right hand that staggered McKenna to start the round. Other than that, there was nothing. She was just being controlled. And then, like I said, McKenna got that slam near the end of the round and was able to land on her to end the round. 4 minutes of control time there for her in this round, most of that being in the clinch. And then in the last round, Cory ended up catching a missed kick really early and dumped Vlismas on her ass. Spent the whole rest of the round there. So she was on top for 4 minutes and 44 seconds. That is an easy round to score for her. 10-9. Not so much of a damage one way that it gives her a 10-8, but easy win for her. Judges' scorecards, everybody had it the same way. Everybody had that first round for Vlismas, and then the next 2 rounds for Cory. That's the easy way without delving too deep into the details. That's an easy way to just score it. Makes sense to me. I just didn't I don't know if I necessarily agree. Let's put it that way. All right. Let's move on. Matthew Semelsberger taking on Jake Matthews. I'm gonna try with the names. I'm gonna say Jake a lot, and I'm gonna try to say Semelsberger. I understand one's their first name, one's their last name, but I think it's gonna make more sense than Matthew and Matthews, right? Or Semelsberger and Matthews, because one of them is Matthew. So I'm gonna try that. Low kicks from both guys were landing early. That's what seemed to do it. Semelsberger landed a huge right hand that put Jake down. I don't know how Jake was still standing there, to be honest, in this first round. He took so much damage. It was so close to getting stopped multiple times. I went 10-8 this first round. I felt like it was close enough to be stopped in favor of Semelsberger. 18-8 as far as total significant strikes go. But like I said, that one shot was so nasty. I definitely would lean towards him getting a 10-8. So that's how I saw it. Second round here, Jake staying in tight. He got taken down, but he got back up immediately. This left hand from Jake was landing really well in this round. He actually landed behind the ear of Semelsberger and took him off balance for a bit. He was doing a better job keeping the range and landing that left hook repeatedly. Semelsberger was stepping in. He kept getting caught, but then he ended up landing a right hand, dropping Matthews. How the significant strikes are dead even, I do not know. I felt like Matthews landed more. Total strikes were dead even as well. Everything was significant, apparently. Matthews wasn't the aggressor, I guess. I don't know. It felt like, I don't know. I guess I'm off on that one. So instinctively, you want to give it to Semelsberger for that one knockdown, right? But I just felt like Jake did enough in that round. I'm off, right? Unless these numbers are just way wrong, which they could be. But I guess I'm off. I'm wrong on that one. I gave that round to Jake Matthews because I thought he had landed more, and with that left hand, he stunned Semelsberger at one point. Kind of taking him off balance, and he landed a few really nice ones. I thought he did enough cumulative damage to outweigh the one time he got dropped. And instinctively, like, you'll just say, oh, well, he got taken down. So, but what happened after that? He got back up immediately and started throwing right away, right? The fight wasn't close to being stopped. Yes, that one shot does a lot of damage, but yeah, so that was in favor. Semelsberger won that round. I mean, that's unfortunate. I didn't see it that way because I thought these striking numbers were more in favor of Matthews. I guess I was way off. And then in this last round, he still was down because I had that first round of 10-8 for Semelsberger. Semelsberger lands a right hand to drop Matthews immediately in this last round. Jake landed a trip and a right hand. He staggered Semelsberger a little bit. Jake with the pressure. I felt like he outlanded Semelsberger. He landed another trip, ended up on top, and I felt like this round was hard to score, even though Semelsberger got the knockdown. Oh, it's the total strikes. Okay, so the total strikes from Matthews in this last round were 42-15. I thought this last round was hard to score because Matthews did a ton of work after he got knocked down. And he had control time. He got on top a little bit. He did good work. He did good damage. I don't know how the judges scored this one. Yeah, everybody gave Jake Matthews that last round, or Chris Lee and Mike Bell gave that last round to Jake Matthews, where Ron McCarthy gave all three to Semelsberger. I'm off on that second round. I'll admit it. I was off on that one. I did not see it the way it took place, I guess. My eyes were lying to me. Yep, it can happen. Right? I would have put forward a really bad scorecard there. I would have had the right decision because I still had it in favor of Semelsberger, but that would have been a bad scorecard if I put that out there. Yeah, Semelsberger hits hard, man. Oof. Yeah, no joke. All right, Said Nurmagomedov versus Saidyokub Kakhramonov. This one, Nurmagomedov is not related to Khabib, no blood relation. They do know each other, though, and they're both from Dagestan. Saidyokub ran right. He ran right in and swung with the left, landed it. Then Nurmagomedov went for a high standing guillotine, got pretty tight on it. He got guard, bringing him down for a bit. He really went for that guillotine hard. early on. But the Kakhramonov control just did the damn thing in this first round. 4 minutes and 30 seconds of it. He outstruck him 7-3 as far as significant strikes go. Plus, he was on top for quite a bit, and he was doing enough damage. I felt like he did enough in that round to win it. And then in the second round, Kakhramonov stayed in his face, was throwing hooks. He got the takedown, took the back, was doing like a great job doing the back ride. He had 3 minutes and 23 minutes of control time, 3 minutes and 23 seconds of control time in this round. And then he went for another takedown and put himself in a bad position and got caught in a guillotine. Then the fight's over. So, interesting decision. I guess, he went to the well one too many times because it worked for him. But you give Saeed that many opportunities at your neck, you're going to pay for it. And that's exactly what happened. I feel like he lost that fight, and Saeed just stayed tight and, did what he had to do. All right, Rafa Garcia taking Maheshate. It's one name, or one word. Yeah, one name, like Sting or Cher. The size difference in this was crazy. Also, Maheshate missed the weight by 2.5 pounds. That's unacceptable. That's ridiculous. It's just, not only is it sanctioned cheating, but in this case with a guy who's this big, I mean, the guy was like 4 inches, 5 inches taller than him. He was, I don't know what the final weight was, but he had to have been like 20 pounds heavier. Like, it's ridiculous. That shouldn't have gone on. I don't know if he was allowed to only gain a certain amount of weight back, but it's unacceptable to be come in. It's unacceptable to miss weight anyway, but to come in, miss weight, and then gain a ton of weight back and be just that gigantic, that's unacceptable. Like, that's way more than sanctioned cheating. You're basically just stacking the deck entirely in this kid's favor, and he still ends up losing the decision, by the way. Maheshate was using the front kick and the jab, and Rafa really couldn't get in. He couldn't find his range, but he did start landing this left hook. And then Rafa landed the bigger shots in this first round. He was entering and timing really well. The boxing, he just was, when he stayed in the pocket and he could land that left hand, he would pause for a second and then really throw hard, and he outlanded him 16-11. Yeah, he threw less strikes. He only threw 29 significant strikes as opposed to 62 from Maheshate, but he landed more of them, and he landed with emphasis. So I gave that first round to Rafa. And then the second round, Maheshate landed a slicing elbow. Not a concussive shot, but there was a lot of blood. So he landed a slicing elbow to the side of the head here, and it just immediately, like, it was pure slicing, right? There was no concussive force to that elbow. It just went right across the skin, opened it up, real bad cut. Was bleeding everywhere. Rafa got the takedown in the middle of the cage after landing a decent shot against the cage. Another takedown in damage. He took the back. He landed damage as Maheshate got up. Maheshate just started to look really tired in this round. He only landed one slicing elbow. I didn't feel like any of the other shots that he landed were anything significant, to be honest with you. 13-8 in favor of Garcia. And yeah, so the commentary team, Dominic Cruz, Dominic Cruz, not with my saying stuff that's not my favorite take, talking about how, the judges are looking for damage and, a cut is damage. I said it last night. I'm not a fan of elbows, and it's not because I don't think they're an effective technique. I absolutely think they're an effective technique. I just don't want it. I would prefer if it wasn't a part of this sport or this sport aspect of this, simply for the cuts, right? Because of stuff like this. Because what if this fight got stopped because of that cut, right? Now, Maheshate, you could say in favor of him, you could say, well, that's an effective technique, and he landed a shot that stopped Garcia. Given the rule set, absolutely. Because, if the doctor comes in and says he can't continue because the cut is open too much or bleeding too much, too dangerous, whatever it might be, that's fine. And I agree with you. Given the current rule set, that's okay. I've presented this argument before. I would just argue that battling the skin elasticity of your opponent is less interesting especially to me, than the expression of the rest of your martial art, right? So the rest of the fighting aspects, I would argue that, effective technique, avoiding damage, and all those things leading up to it. And that's why I said I don't think that elbows are ineffective. They absolutely are effective, especially the concussive ones, even the slicing ones. Like, I understand they're all effective techniques. It's just, if your goal is, it's like going for the oblique kick to the knee, right? Not that it's not an effective technique. Absolutely, it is, just like elbows. But what you're doing is you're battling uh, the joint durability of your opponent, and not in a way where you have worked your way into a submission attempt and you are placing that joint in a bad position through uh, some sort of effective technique of grappling. You are throwing some stuff at that knee straight on, and not from the side, not to shut off a nerve. Like, there's a lot of things that you can say, hey, well, a low kick to the nerve, is that really effective? Is that causing damage? No, and you're right. There's a lot of things. It's just, this is a personal preference thing. I don't think fights stopped due to cuts are a fun aspect of this sport, right? I would rather see fights go the distance, fights stop via submission or through TKO, KO, a lot of other things, right? A broken bone. A broken bone to me is more acceptable than the stop via cut, because the broken bone, whether it be from a defense or whatever, that occurred during the fight, from the fight. Now, to varying degrees, like if you pop something out of the socket like Junior Dos Santos did against I don't know, that nothing guy from I think he's from Florida. I don't remember his name. It doesn't matter. He's a nothing. So he was beating the shit out of him so much that he threw his shoulder out. Like, that's not the same thing as, someone beating on you and then your shoulder pops out because of the beatdown. It's a little bit different. Garcia ended up getting a takedown in this last round, controlling him on the ground for a long time. He did enough damage in this last round, regardless of positional advantage, to take it 30. I had it 30-27. All three judges had it that way as well. At the end of the fight, Rafa was standing over him, kind of talking crap. I'm guessing Maheshate was probably saying something to him in some way, saying like, "Oh, hey, whatever, quit holding." I don't know. It doesn't matter. I didn't hear anything. He's just egging him on slightly, and then he stands up over him, like kind of talking crap to him. And then Maheshate stands up, and he goes at him a little bit, with the arms back type of thing, like like trying to body bump him. And then they're obviously separated. But here's the thing, dude. The only reason you're standing up right now is because the fight got ended and the referee separated you two. Otherwise, you'd still be on your back. You just had 15 minutes to beat this guy, and you didn't. Okay? Now, you can be as mad as you want about his technique, just like, when Jorge Masvidal was mad because Colby Covington held him down for 25 minutes. Sure, you can be mad about it all you want. But you had 25 minutes, man. Like, you can't say, "Oh, let's go right now." You just went. Go where? You just fought. Like, what is Maheshate gonna do? Dude, you just had 15 minutes. You literally just fought, and you lost every single round. You had a couple moments, and that's it. Oh, boy. Speaking about having only a couple moments, not even that. This one was bad, guys. Bryan Battle versus Rinat Fakhretdinov. 3 significant strikes landed for Bryan, 1 in each round. I don't really need to describe this one too much. Fakhretdinov took him down in all 3 rounds, getting a ton of control time. 4 minutes and 41, 4 minutes and 49, and 4 minutes and 41. Bryan Battle threw up some submission attempts and other stuff like that throughout this fight. Just not a good fight for him. Really bad. I know he took this on relatively short notice, only 3 weeks notice. I get that. And, it's a big step up in competition. This guy is 20-1. He's now 2-0 in the UFC. He's a crazy good wrestler. He's obviously got good enough cardio. Whoa, Adelaide Bird. Holy moly. And Camijo throwing out the 10-8s. What the? Adelaide Bird was on this card too. 30-25. Throwing out the 10-8s. 10-8-1, 10-8-3. Why not 10-8-2? What was different? All right. So I went off a little bit on scoring last night, but let's just talk about this real quick here. Big strikes from Fakhretdinov in all 3 rounds. Striking numbers in all 3 rounds, 19, 10, 14. So number 2 was the least amount of strikes. Control time, most control time, 4 minutes and 49 seconds. 30 total strikes. It was 37, 30, and then 35. So plenty of control time, plenty of strikes. 2 takedowns, the same as the first round. The fact that Ron McCarthy gave it 10-9 all 3 rounds, understandable. I didn't see anything so... Yes, it was one-sided. I felt like Battle was like, he was trying off his back and he was avoiding a lot of the big damage coming down to him. That's why I didn't give him any 10-8s. But here's what I'm trying to get at here, guys. I just want to put this on the record. Adelaide Bird and Junichiro Camijo here both saw round 1 and 2 a 10-8 in favor of Fakhretdinov. Right? Okay. There's no argument against that. In my opinion, I would say that you could argue for it fairly easily. But if on those same cards, right now, I'm not begrudging Ron McCarthy, like saying, hey, how come you didn't give it a 10-8? That's fine. He scored all 3 a 10-9. That's consistent across his scorecard. Camijo and Bird, not consistent. Not consistent. There was not enough different about round 2, round 1, and round 3 that anything should be scored differently. Now, real quick here. If I had to play, not Nostradamus, but mind reader here. First round was a 10-8. Second round, they saw it, and they're like, oh, well, we already gave him a 10-8 for that first round. I don't want to give him another 10-8 because we don't give those out very often, so they give him a 10-9. Then they realized in the third round, like, oh, crap, this is how this entire fight's going to go, so they gave him a 10-8 because it was pointless anyway. Yikes. That'd be my guess. I could be totally off. Maybe they just are incompetent or inconsistent because that's what I'm saying is like using their own logic, not mine, not anybody else's. What's so different about this round compared to the last round? Right? The fact that he landed 5 less total strikes. But he was Battle was on his back the entire time. No submission, no recordable submission attempts. Took plenty of damage. That's inconsistency within its own card, and that's a problem, right? That's stuff that should be pointed out. I'm guessing nobody's going to talk about that. Nobody's going to talk about that. David Dvorak taking on Manel Kape. Weird one. Kape getting the win here via unanimous decision. Anthony Manis actually gave 1 round to Dvorak. We'll talk about that here. So Keith was backing up and staying against a cage. Dvorak landed 2 leg kicks, and that was pretty much it for the first round, in my opinion. He didn't land too much. But Dvorak did get a takedown. Manel used the Kimura to go for a reversal and ended the round going for a finish. I gave that first round to Kape because he went for that submission and was, he had it in pretty tight near the end of the round, and there wasn't something from Dvorak that was so definitive in his direction that really blew him out to lead up to that. So I gave that first round to Kape. Second round here. Kape was pressing forward, not landing anything. Dvorak was landing 1 shot every 30 seconds. Kape landed a right hand. Dvorak got wobbled and then went down. Kape started unloading, doing a ton of work to the body, rocking Dvorak again. Went for a spin and ended up at the end of the round, ended up on his back. Not that means anything. I still had him up 20-18. Real nice that So something happened in this one. I know went on a rant last night about fence grabs. By the way, I have an adjustment to my opinion about the co-main event, Arman Saryukin. I looked back at my notes from the last time. He grabbed the cage 3 times and got warned 3 times in his last fight. So not great. That makes me less forgiving. I'm so anytime Arman Saryukin fights now, I'm gonna look out for that because that's bullshit. That's clearly a part of his technique is to grab the fence. Now, if it was one time each fight, or if it was just because of the way he fights and his fingers happen to get interlaced, that's one thing. But he was warned 6 times last night, and then in his last fight, he was warned 3 times. 3 separate times he was warned. I didn't go back and watch it to count, but that's pretty bad. So anyway, in this last round of this Kape versus Dvorak fight, something weird happened. So Dvorak had his fingers out and in a poking Kape. So there was a stoppage because like Kape goes like this and he like points like, hey, come on. And then he starts clearing out his nose. Then they look at the replay. The fingers went up Kape's nose. So Dvorak is breaking the rules by having his fingers extended. You will hear no defense of that action from me. I will not defend that. That's against the rules. It's a stupid rule, good rule, bad gloves, good gloves. I don't care. Those are the rules. Now, the fact that Kape got any break for that is ridiculous. The fact that he pointed it out is ridiculous. How is that okay? Having a finger in your nose is not against the rules. That's not a foul. Okay? Fingers in the nose is not a foul. That's ridiculous. I've never seen that before. Never seen that. Kape spent the last round skating around the outside, coasting for a win. Smart move by him. I do feel that Dvorak could have won that last round, maybe. But it didn't matter. Kape won that fight. Let's see here. Kape. Yep, Manis gave him that last round. I didn't. I think he won all 3 rounds. They were close enough to where if you gave it to him, that's fine. But I think he won that last round as well. Still needs to work on his takedown defense a little bit. Needs to work on his output, and he's put together 3 wins in a row now. Jalgas Zhumagulov, Ode Osborne, and now David Dvorak. He's good, man. How old is he? He's not exactly young. He's 30. He's got an extensive career outside of the UFC. I believe he came from Ryzen, and he was a champ over there, if I remember correctly. All right, first fight on the card. Sergey Morozov versus Journey Newson. The damage from Newson could be enough to win both the first and the second round, but Sergey had a ton of control time and damage as well, plus every lift and dump is damage. So, dude, this fight was all over the place. I think Morozov definitely had the advantage, especially in the last round. It was just like a dominating performance by Morozov. He did get outstruck in this last round, but let's look and see what they said. Mike Bell had all 3 from Morozov. Adelaide Bird gave that first round to Newson, and so did Ron McCarthy. What gave him? Did he rock him or something? I don't feel like he did enough. He got outstruck. He got outlanded, outpositioned in this first round, outcontrolled. Yeah, I gotta agree with Mike Bell on this. 30-27 makes sense. It might have been the damage. That's okay. All right, that is it. If this is the only video you watch this weekend, awesome. Thank you for spending your time here. It means a lot to me. Thank you. If you're looking for the main card, the main event, that is in the last video. I will be putting out a video next week, even though there is no UFC. I don't know if there's another MMA event. I will try to find something to cover. That'd be nice. Do some sort of Christmas special, something like that. If you like this stuff, if you like this video, subscribe to the channel so you know the next video is coming out. It means a lot to me. Let me know what you guys thought about the fights. Appreciate y'all. Have an amazing week. Love y'all.